So a few days ago I made a video talking about the start that the Golden State Warriors had to their season where they got blown out by the Brooklyn Nets on opening night. And as we all saw, the Warriors again got blown out on Christmas by the Milwaukee Bucks. And so naturally people started questioning what's going on here. And a lot of that blame has been falling on the Warriors star player and focal point, who of course is Steph Curry. And since these two losses, we've seen a lot of different takes and narratives coming out from all over the place about him. And while it does make sense because people would be expecting more from him at this point in his career, it doesn't make sense to be going this far after just a handful of games with a brand new team. So this isn't really that big of a deal when we consider what might happen in the long run. And it's also not that big of a deal when we consider the fact that this has happened before. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be going over what exactly is wrong with the Golden State Warriors. We're going to talk about some of the times in Steph Curry's career where we've seen him have a stretch of games similar to the one that we're seeing, what happened afterward, and this will lead us closer to determining whether we will actually need to be worried about him this season or not. Alright, let's get into the video. Okay, so right away, the first thing I want to say is that if you're wondering what happened to Steph Curry, I don't blame you, because for someone that maybe doesn't watch the NBA or just the Golden State Warriors as much, you may be accustomed to seeing a very different version of Steph Curry, the version that makes the game look effortless and hits shots that you can't even imagine. But this season we're seeing a very different version, one that seems to be struggling to get a shot almost any time he touches the ball. But what does this actually mean? Because if you're fairly new to the NBA, you may have only seen Steph Curry playing while he was on a loaded team. So what's going on here? Because if he's playing on a new team, then why is Kevin Durant playing so well with the Brooklyn Nets? Well, for starters, the main problem for Golden State this season has been the amount of shots that are actually falling. Or not falling, which is affecting the offense as a whole, because we've seen that the Warriors aren't struggling like they were at the start of last season, where every possession looked like a struggle. They're getting a good amount of open shots, they just haven't been able to hit them. In the first two games, the Warriors have taken 198 total shots. Out of those 198 shots, there have been 53 shots defined as wide open, which is defined as a shot with no defender within 6 feet of the shooter. So that means that nearly 27% of their shots in the first two games fell under this criteria, and they actually lead the league in wide open attempts among teams that have also played 2 games. But how many of those 53 shots did they actually make? 16. So this season, the Warriors are currently shooting 30% on wide open shots. But that's not all, because there is another category just defined as open, which is a defender within 4 to 6 feet of the shooter. These make up 26% of their attempts, and they're shooting 39% on those. So that means that over half of all their shot attempts have been either open or wide open, and they're shooting 34.6% on those attempts. And I mean, as you can see, that's their main problem right now. That's what we've been seeing in the games. But we're also seeing how the lack of Steph Curry actually being on the court has affected the roster and how they play. Because throughout the first 2 games, we've seen things that are common with teams that haven't had a lot of time playing together yet. And especially considering that both Andrew Wiggins and Kelly Oubre are new additions to the team, and those are the 2 main guys outside of Steph and Draymond, that can add to the difficulty. And we can see that here, with Kelly Oubre's shot selection and the subsequent reactions from both Steph Curry and Steve Kerr. What we've also seen is the simple lack of knowledge of how the Warriors have been utilizing Steph Curry for the last 6 or so years. Because we've seen him being missed on plays that would have possibly been a catch and shoot 3 off of a curl, but that's not exactly how it's been working out recently. But another factor in the playmaking problem has been the absence of Draymond Green. Draymond should be back in the game against Chicago, but if he isn't, he should realistically be returning the game after, but he's been a key piece of Golden State's playmaking over the last few seasons, especially without Kevin Durant on the court. Like we saw in the 2019 playoffs, there would be times where he wouldn't even be looking to shoot because that's not what he's looking for. And so when he's eventually back, I can imagine that the playmaking and the shots that they get while he's on the floor will be even better than they've been. Also consider that one of his specialties is throwing lobs, and well, they have James Wiseman now. So that will also be really good for them. But that's enough of what seems to be wrong with the team as a whole. So now I want to talk about the main piece of the puzzle, and that's Steph Curry. Because like I said before, we've seen him struggle like this before even during the dynasty while Kevin Durant was there. So it's not exactly a talent issue like people want to believe. Like, he's a shooter, and sometimes this just happens. It also doesn't help that he's coming off of a hand injury in a season where he only played 5 games. so he still hasn't even had that much time on the court to figure things out, at least not in a real game situation. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a response from him very soon, because if we look back to his unanimous MVP season, we can find a couple instances of this, because in December of the season, he had a 2-week stretch where he shot 28% from 3. At the end of December, they played against the Sacramento Kings, and it looked like it was going to continue when he started the game 0 for 6. But then, all of a sudden, this happened.
Step back, and there it is. His first field goal, it's a 3. Are just daring the Warriors to shoot threes. They're getting away with it, but not forever. And Steph Curry, 23 and a half. Curry, let's go back and forth. Curry on the crossover, Steph down the lane. Steph for the rebound. Oh man, his three's good! But he knew he could drill it. He's got 17 points in the last 3 minutes.
So yes, he went from shooting 28% from 3 for 2 weeks straight to scoring 17 points and hitting 5 threes in 3 minutes. But let's fast forward to January of that season, where he was playing good but not amazing. He had a 3-game stretch where he averaged just 16 points while shooting 38%. Then we get to February, where in the first game after that 3-game stretch, he does this.
Curry, fake to get rid of Dudley. Shot's good. With such high usage, Curry
gets seduced into jacking all these threes when you play, because Curry comes down and he is going to be like...
Actually, they're the only team in the NBA as Curry knocks the wins that come by 20. Curry pucks it in and comes up with a steal. Ball nearly taken away by Dudley. Curry, bang! Like Nene's missed 21 games with injury. Curry again! Curry, crossover, 2-pointer for Curry. That's good.
So 25 points and 7 threes in the first quarter, 51 for the game. And this was just the beginning of what would become one of the greatest offensive months for any player, because he averaged 37 points and shot 55% overall and 54% from 3. He set all kinds of records, and it was also the month where he hit this shot. But you might say, well, that's his unanimous MVP season. That's the best version of him that we've ever seen. So let's take a look at one instance that actually happened in the playoffs. So the 2018 Western Conference Finals was a 7-game series between the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets, where at the start of the series, you may remember that there were people legitimately questioning Steph Curry and if he would be able to step up, because that also went hand in hand with the Steph Curry playoff narrative. And from Game 3 through the rest of the series, there were absolutely no more doubts about what he would be able to do, as he would go on to average 28 points for the rest of the series and shoot 48% from the field and score 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 10 assists in Game 7. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that we shouldn't be worried about him or the Golden State Warriors because of these 2 games. Because you also have to think, these were 2 teams that were expected to be at the top of the Eastern Conference, and both have favorable odds to win the championship. So I think it's a little early to make distinct predictions based off of those games, but then again, losing by 40 is less than ideal. So you can interpret that however you want. But if this video has shown anything, it's that Steph Curry will be fine once he spends more time on the court and gets his rhythm back, and the rest of the team will be fine once they get in more time together and learn each other's games and tendencies. Now, how long would that take? I have no idea, and given that this is a 72-game season instead of an 82-game season, that would really be my only worry. Because if it takes, say, 25 games to figure it out, then that might already be it for them, depending on where they are in the standings. So to me, that remains the only question mark for the season. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think the Warriors will be able to figure things out in time, or do you think it's going to be too late? Let me know what you think. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new, hit the bell to be notified when I upload, comment down below what you want to see next, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.